over 60,000 Sikh men. The Sikhs would lose over 30,000 in this battle and would stage a Durrani resurgence in the Punjab region. 101. The Durranis lost Multan in 1772 after Ahmad Shah's death. Following this victory by Timur Shah was able to lay siege to Multan and recapture it. 102. Incorporating it into the Durrani Empire once again, reintegrating it as a province until the siege of Multan, 1818. Timur Shah would be succeeded by his son, Zaman Shah Durrani after his death on May 20, 1793. Timur Shah's reign oversaw the attempted stabilization and consolidation of the empire. However, Timur Shah had over 24 sons, a mistake that would plunge the empire in civil war over succession crises. 103. Zaman Shah Durrani would succeed to the Durrani throne following the death of his father, Timur Shah Durrani. This instigated civil war with his brothers, Mahmud Shah Durrani, and Humayun Mirza revolting against him. With Humayun centered in Kandahar, and Mahmud Shah centered in Herat, 104, Zaman Shah would defeat Humayun and also force the loyalty of Mahmud Shah Durrani, 104, securing his position on the throne. Zaman Shah had led 3 campaigns into Punjab, with the first 2 campaigns capturing Lahore, but being forced to retreat due to intel about a possible Qajar invasion, or his brother, Mahmud Shah Durrani revolting. Zaman Shah embarked on his 3rd campaign for Punjab in 1800 to deal with a rebellious Ranjit Singh, 105. However, he was forced to withdraw, with his brother, Mahmud Shah Durrani revolting. Zaman Shah would be toppled from his reign, replaced by his brother, Mahmud Shah Durrani, 105. However, just under 2 years in his reign, Mahmud Shah Durrani would be deposed by his brother, Shah Shuja Durrani, on 13 July 1803, 106. Shah Shuja would attempt to consolidate the Durrani realm, which had been long striven by civil war. Shah Shuja would later be deposed by his brother at the Battle of Nimla, 1809, 107, where Mahmud Shah Durrani would defeat and force Shah Shuja to flee, with Shah Mahmud usurping the throne again for his second reign beginning on 3 May 1809, 108. Baratside Dynasty and British Wars. Further information, Dost Muhammad Khan, Herat, 1793 to 1863, Maymana Khanate, Principality of Kandahar, European influence in Afghanistan, Anglo-Afghan Wars, Durand Line, and Afghan Civil War, 1928 to 1929. By the early 19th century, the Afghan Empire was under threat from the Persians in the west and the Sikh Empire in the east. Fateh Khan, leader of the Baratsai tribe, installed many of his brothers in positions of power throughout the empire, mostly ruling as governors of major cities and provinces. After his murder for apparent treason against the Durrani king, Fateh Khan would be sentenced by Mahmud Shah Durrani, having him executed. His brothers rebelled and a civil war brewed between the Sadazais and the Barazais. During this turbulent period, Afghanistan had fractured into many states. This included the Principality of Kandahar, Emirate of Herat, Khanate of Kunduz, Maymana Khanate, and many more states. The most prominent state being the Emirate of Kabul, ruled by Dost Muhammad Khan after he declared himself Emir and was bestowed upon the title of Emir al-Mu'minin in summer 1826 after he usurped the throne from his brother, Sultan Muhammad Khan, 109, with the collapse of the Durrani Empire and the exile of the Sadazai dynasty. While Afghanistan was in this turbulent period of civil war, Punjab and Kashmir were lost to Ranjit Singh, ruler of the Sikh Empire, who invaded Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in March 1823 and captured the city of Peshawar from the Peshawar Sardars, one of the many entities that split following the collapse of the Durrani Empire, at the Battle of Nowshera, 110. In 1837, Dost Muhammad Khan attempted to retake Peshawar and sent a large force under his son, Wazir Akbar Khan, leading to the Battle of Jamrud near the Khyber Pass. Akbar Khan and the Afghan army failed to capture the Jamrud fort from the Sikh Khalsa army, but killed Sikh commander Hari Singh Nalwa, thus ending the Afghan-Sikh wars. By this time the British were advancing from the east, conquering the Sikh Empire after it had its own period of turbulence following the death of Ranjit Singh, directly bringing the Emirate of Kabul to conflict in the first major conflict during the Great Game. In 1839, a British expeditionary force marched into Afghanistan, invading the Principality of Kandahar, and in August 1839, seized Kabul, forcing Dost Muhammad into exile with other factions and rebels in Afghanistan, while he was replaced with the former Durrani ruler Shah Shuja Durrani as the new ruler of Kabul, and unbeknownst to him, a de facto puppet on the throne. 112, 113, following an uprising that saw the assassination of Shah Shuja, the 1842 retreat from Kabul of British Indian forces, and the annihilation of Elphinstone's army, and the punitive expedition of the Battle of Kabul that led to its sacking, the British gave up on their attempts to try and subjugate Afghanistan, which allowed Dost Muhammad Khan to return as ruler. Dost Muhammad Khan would spend most of his reign consolidating the parts of Afghanistan that were lost in the Afghan Civil War, which raged from 1793 to 1863. Dost Muhammad Khan would launch numerous campaigns after returning to rule in 1842, ruling only from Kabul, Ghazni, and other cities when he had returned. Dost Muhammad united most of the Afghan realm in his reign, securing the last major state, Herat, in the Herat campaign of 1862–63. Dost Muhammad died on June 9, 1863, a few weeks after his campaign to capture Herat. Dost Muhammad's successors would fight for the throne of Afghanistan, between Sher Ali Khan, Muhammad Afzal Khan, and Muhammad Azam Khan in the Afghan Civil War, 1863 to 1869. Sher Ali would win this civil war and would go on to rule the realm until in 1878, the British had returned in the Second Anglo-Afghan War, which was fought over perceived Russian influence in the region. Abdur Rahman Khan replaced Ayub Khan, who had succeeded Sher Ali Khan after his death in 1879. Britain would gain control of Afghanistan's foreign relations as part of the Treaty of Gandamak of 1879, making it an official British protected state. 114. In 1893, Amir Abdur Rahman signed an agreement in which the ethnic Pashtun and Baloch territories were divided by the Durand Line, which forms the modern-day border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Shia-dominated Hazarajat and pagan Kafiristan remained politically independent until being conquered by Abdur Rahman Khan in 1891–1896. He was known as the Iron Emir for his features and his ruthless methods against tribes. 115. The Iron Emir viewed railway and telegraph lines coming from the Russian and British as Trojan horses, and therefore prevented railway development in Afghanistan. 116. He died in 1901, succeeded by his son, Habibullah Khan. How can a small power like Afghanistan, which is like a goat between these lions, Britain and Russia, or a grain of wheat between two strong millstones of the grinding mill, could stand in the midway of the stones without being ground to dust? Abdur Rahman Khan, the Iron Emir, in 1900, 117, 118. During the First World War, when Afghanistan was neutral, Habibullah Khan was met by officials of the Central Powers in the Niedermeyer-Hentig expedition to declare full independence from the United Kingdom, join them and attack British India, as part of the Hindu-German conspiracy. Their efforts to bring Afghanistan into the Central Powers failed, but it caused discontent among the population for keeping neutrality against the British. Habibullah was assassinated during a hunting trip in February 1919, and Amanullah Khan eventually assumed power. A staunch supporter of the 1915 to 1916 expeditions, Amanullah Khan provoked the Third Anglo-Afghan War, entering British India via the Khyber Pass. After the end of the Third Anglo-Afghan War and the signing of the Treaty of Rawalpindi on August 19, 1919, Emir Amanullah Khan declared the Emirate of Afghanistan a sovereign and fully independent state. He moved to end his country's traditional isolation by establishing diplomatic relations with the international community, particularly with the Soviet Union and the Weimar Republic of Germany. 121. He proclaimed himself King of Afghanistan on June 9, 1926, when the Emirate of Afghanistan became the Kingdom of Afghanistan. Following a 1927-28 tour of Europe and Turkey, he introduced several reforms intended to modernize his nation. A key force behind these reforms was Mahmud Tarzi, an ardent supporter of the education of women. He fought for Article 68 of Afghanistan's 1923 constitution, which made elementary education compulsory. The institution of slavery was abolished in the Emirate of Afghanistan in 1923. 122. King Amanullah's wife, Queen Soraya, was an important figure during this period in the fight for women's education and against their oppression. 123. Some of the reforms that were put in place, such as the abolition of the traditional burqa for women and the opening of several coeducational schools, quickly alienated many tribal and religious leaders, and this led to the Afghan Civil War, 1928 to 1929. Faced with the overwhelming armed opposition, King Amanullah abdicated in January 1929, and soon after Kabul fell to Saccocist forces led by Habibullah Kalakani. 124. Prince Muhammad Nadir Shah, Amanullah's cousin, in turn defeated and killed Kalakani in October 1929, and was declared King Nadir Shah. 125. He abandoned the reforms of King Amanullah in favor of a more gradual approach to modernization, but was assassinated in 1933 by Abdul Khalik, a 15-year-old Hazara student who was an Amanullah loyalist. 126. Muhammad Zahir Shah, Nadir Shah's 19-year-old son, succeeded to the throne and reigned as king from 1933 to 1973. The tribal revolts of 1944 to 1947 saw King Zahir's reign challenged by Zadran, Safi, Mongol, and Wazir tribesmen led by Mazrak Zadran, Salmai, and Mirzali Khan, among others, many of whom were Amanullah loyalists. Close relations with the Muslim states Turkey, the Hashemite Kingdom of Iraq and Iran/Persia were also pursued, while further international relations were sought by joining the League of Nations in 1934. The 1930s saw the development of roads, infrastructure, the founding of a national bank, and increased education. Road links in the north played a large part in a growing cotton